All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Let me check my email. All right. One. Where is apply? Uh, Copy. Try that one. See offer Charles. Try this again. Try that one again. See if that works. All right. I've sent off two. We had trolls, so I decided to start a new one because the trolls had actually dropped some people, and I can't add them. So you're gonna have to email me for the link this time. Kind of keep some of the trolls out, keep trolls from actually dropping people. I'm not gonna be up all night. Okay, I'm not gonna be up all night. Yeah, we're back. So to join the hangout, you're gonna have to email me because the white trolls are bad tonight. There you are.
Hello.
Hey, hey,
Oops.
Kevin. Yeah, that's the old trick that the trolls use. They actually pop on. They won't say anything, but they'll start
Yeah.
um, ejecting people because they know once you eject it, you can't get back on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I had to start a new stream.
Not a problem. Please note the purchase does not reflect the actual amount should be charged. Okay. Jesus Christ. So are we back on?
We're back on. Yeah.
Um. Well, I noticed you had the call out thing, and I didn't see anybody joining.
Hmm.
But I was wanting to, uh, over the last several weeks,
Hmm.
especially on your panel, we had always ended up on this discussion about millennials.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's always going to be a hot topic because that's the straw with whom we have to build bricks.
Hmm.
I come at the subject of see. Here's the thing: I want millennial men who are willing to listen to understand. We understand the things you're going through. We need to get on the same page to where we can actually transmit the information and knowledge to you guys, so you can take the ball and run with it.
Hmm.
A lot of times when I come onto colleges and universities and I'm talking about the power of image, I get a lot of pushback from millennials. But when I go to HBCUs,
Hmm.
young black men, it is almost like they feel insulted. They feel insulted, um, and they feel that's the whole point.
Yeah,
They
they do feel.
feel,
Yeah.
and and after talking to several university, to people at the university, between the president and
Hmm.
it's like so many of these young men never had father figures, so to see
Hmm.
a black man in an authority position actually tell them what
Hmm.
they need to do to prepare themselves to go compete in this world, and it's different than what they've been doing,
Hmm.
is such a shock to their system. The first thing they feel is anger.
Hmm.
Anger that they have to do it, anger that no one told them to do it, and anger that they feel that someone's telling them you can't be you in order to be successful.
Yeah.
That's what I hear a lot of times when I'm hearing you and other people trying to speak to millennial men um, and it just throws up that constant roadblock. But at the end of the day, if we don't actually learn how to interact with these guys, or better still, these guys learn how to interact with us,
Hmm.
what's the alternative?
Okay. Okay. There's what we're trying to do is get these guys to actually mature before they're 40 years old,
Okay.
where when they're still young enough to be effective. Because after 40, you have a very short window
Mm,
as far as being a young, as far as being a young man. Because 40, you're supposed to be built by 40. Because if you're not built by 40, um, you probably won't be very effective for the rest of your life. You got to actually be built as a man by 40. We're trying to get them built because what's happening is you see a lot of delayed maturity.
hmm
Because we talk to these guys and they're 30 years old and they sound like they're 15.
Yes. Yes.
And that's because we didn't we didn't push them into maturity. Like you coming up with your mother, even though you were, you came out without a father, your mother didn't necessarily coddle you the same way.
Oh no.
She actually pushed you. I'm sure you had to clean up your room. She probably taught you to cook. She probably taught you a whole, you
Man,
had
I was
chores.
fully functional by 8 years old.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the thing is, even if you didn't get a lot of the manhood points, you weren't coddled. So even though you're missing some pieces as far as a functional adult, you're a functional adult way
Right.
before you're 18 years old. You're
Yes.
probably a functional adult by like 14 or 15 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. I actually started working at 14 because, you know, my mother
Hmm.
she went to college, but she was like an above average student.
Hmm.
But for me to ask my mom to help me with my homework, it happened one time when I got the F. I never did it again.
Hmm.
It wasn't because she wasn't smart, it's because I was going to school. I was a science guy,
Hmm.
chemistry,
Oh, okay.
mathematics, the kind of
Mhm.
stuff that most people didn't do.
Yeah.
But yes, she accepted no shorts.
Okay.
And whenever I decided I was going to quit and be a punk,
Hmm.
she knew her son well enough to know, all right, I'll hit him in his ego, tell him he can't do it. Tell
Hmm.
me I can't do it, and I will walk a mile uphill on
Hmm.
glass to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And one of the best challenges she ever did for me one time is when I thought school was getting too hard. She said, "Okay, this is when minimum wage is still $3.35 an hour. For
Hmm.
every A you bring home, I'll give you $50.
Hmm.
Every B, $25. I don't pay for C's." I
Hmm.
came home with it. I went from being an A student to a C student. I came back the next semester, whatever, straight A's. She paid me. She paid me to her credit, and she said, "You now that you can do it, I don't want to see anything less." I gave her credit for that because she knew that I had the potential. I was just standing in my own way. She motivated me with something she knew that I wanted, but then she made me realize that, you know what, you're your biggest impediment. So when I
Hmm.
had my white teachers who told me
Hmm.
English just isn't for you,
Hmm.
you can't make an A in my class,
Yeah.
you just don't think that way.
Yeah, yeah, you like me. Yeah,
Oh,
that's like when I
really,
got
my
into math and science
yes,
because
yes.
I had a white teacher that told me that I wouldn't amount to anything and I shouldn't be in this class, and I proved him
Mhm.
wrong. Yeah.
And Mr. Lowry told me, you're a C student, and that's why you should stay in the band because that's where you're at. And that 71 became a 96 average.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Odendahl told my mother I could do it. I was just being too lazy.
Mm-hmm.
And he challenged me, and then he called me out
Mm-hmm.
in front of my peers, saying, "Well, you're lazy."
Mm-hmm.
That pissed me off because I knew I wasn't lazy, but he was right. I was being lazy, but then I had to put in the time to come before class, after class, not go into lunch. And I made myself a math person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that's why I can understand and empathize to a degree where some of these young men are coming from. Only to a degree, though.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
ember that was inside of me that just needed a little oxygen to turn into a flame.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't to try to find where it is within them because they don't see it themselves. I knew where mine was, but I don't see a lot of these young men knowing where theirs is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, because they never had to.
Hello,
Uh,
gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Hey, Typhoon, what's going on?
hey, who's on the
I'm
panel?
chill. I'm chill.
Is this one of the conservatives?
No, I don't. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a conservative.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a conservative. However, I just want to let you guys know that I really appreciate you, especially as a millennial. The reason why I say that is because I have essentially, well, I'm 29 years old. Okay.
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 And the thing about it is, I'm really trying my best, in order to build that coalition that's needed in order for us to move forward,
Hmm.
especially as a generation. However, the thing about it is the first thing that any man must do in order to sort of start building said coalition,
Hmm.
they must at least bring together their own household. You see what I'm saying? So my whole thing is, I come from a family. I got three brothers. I got two sisters,
Hmm.
and we were all raised by a single mother.
Hmm.
However, we did have father figures, but they were not consistent. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Uh-huh.
So it's always an in and out type thing, right? So with that being said, um, later on in life, when I actually moved away from the nest, and that's how most men, come to, learn responsibility by leaving the nest and actually, putting themselves out there in the world where they can learn all of these new things and face their fears. However, during my learning process, and it took me years, at least 8 years, to get to where I am right now. However, but during my learning process, I always kept in contact with my brothers and sisters, and they stayed near the nest. Okay, they
Hmm.
stayed in the nest, and during all of this, transformation that I'm going through, I talked to them, and I noticed that they're not changing. So ever since I came to Seattle, and I'm living in Seattle right now,
Hmm.
um, I have, man, I've worked three jobs. I went to school. One time I fell asleep on my feet at work.
Hmm.
And you know what I'm saying? Like just sustaining myself because I don't have any inheritance or anything like that. Everything I got, I have to work for. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So this one time last year was the first time I went back home in 8 years. And I don't know if you guys ever had this feeling before, but when you go back home after
Hmm.
such a long amount of time
Hmm.
and you see that things are almost like it's in a stasis.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
It's almost like it's frozen in time. And
Hmm.
you get that nostalgic feeling, but
Yeah.
it's very eerie at the same time. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, the thing is the heart or your feelings don't have any time. They're outside of time, so you can grow older. But say it is, you're going to learn that if say if you have a girlfriend or a wife or somebody you're really close to, and you say you haven't seen her for 10 years, if you spend like a week with them, you start falling into old patterns like you never left because the heart doesn't know any time. So if you go back to your parents' house, you almost fall back into the routine of being a child.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, it's a
you,
very, very eerie feeling. And the thing
Mm-hmm.
about it is, when when I experience this, and
Mm-hmm.
when I talk to my brothers and sisters,
Mm-hmm.
they are too also frozen in that stasis. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
when I talk to my brothers about things like racism, or when I talk to my brothers and sisters about things like, collective activity, politics, economics, you know what I'm saying? Like you
Mm-hmm.
name it, you come up, you could just name a subject that mature people should be able to at least hold a conversation about,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well,
Well, I talk to them, and it's almost as if
you're talking
they
down to
haven't
them.
even grown up. No, no, it's like they're experiencing a second childhood. You ever heard
Yeah.
that Nas song where where he's rapping and he's like, yo, I'm in my second childhood.
Well, they never finished their first one. That's the problem.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
still in the first one because we're having an issue with my children. It's trying to, and they have children, so I'm steadily trying to beat parenthood into them.
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development, yeah.
Exactly.
So, I'm from Oklahoma, so it was always the urge in me to get out because I saw so many people say stuck. I turned matter of fact, I wanted to leave so much when I did an internship in Houston. I didn't go back. I finished college in Houston because I did not want to stay stuck. Being out of Oklahoma, when I would come back on the holidays or several years later, I would see people I went to high school with 5 years later, still doing the same job they had when we were in high school. They married their high school sweetheart. They had a couple of kids.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It was like every time I came back, 5 years, 10 years, they were doing the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
And to the point to where I would talk to them. It was like, you're talking down to us. Big, leaving the small town, going to the big town, and you come back, you city folk.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, because you've evolved. You've grown.
Right.
And you have grown past them.
So this is something I also see younger men struggle with too, because I made a point on a live stream the other day. It's like, you need to go out and make 5 new male friends. The friends you went to made from school, you were thrown into a school. You didn't have a choice about that. Your life has pretty much been because of geography up until into high school and through college. But after college, you have a choice. You can go make friends. But then that means you're going to be leaving your old friends possibly behind. And are you okay with that? And a lot of times guys aren't okay with it. And then they stay stuck with that Arrested Development thing because they don't want to leave the only group they had.
Right. I'm very happy you mentioned that because I give you a little bit more backstory about me, actually. My family was uprooted during Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
We relocated to Texas.
Oh, to Houston?
No, actually, we relocated to Fort Worth at the time, and then then we were moving back and forth between Fort Worth, Texas, and Arlington, Texas, and eventually we all settled into Arlington, Texas.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I actually had the opportunity, to go back and visit New Orleans for the first time in 13 years, right? And beforehand, I actually thought 2 of my best friends from high school died at the time. It was so bad I had nightmares about it, right? And over the course of me living in Seattle, Washington, one of my brothers, my little brother, he found my 2 friends on Facebook. So, after, reconnecting with them and talking to them, and once I got to the point where I can actually go back down to New Orleans and visit, I met them for the first time. And it's crazy because their mentalities haven't changed much either. That's the thing. It's like, I would talk to them about, because we all grew up as writers, right? We all grew up in this group of, 3, just us 3. It was all, we would create our own writings and books and novels and stuff like that. And I would talk to them and I would try my best to sort of talk about how to build this thing into a professional venture where we can actually generate our own income out of it. And not only that, but having a sort of Black-centered, Black-centrist, material where we can, be unique and cultivate that particular, that particular subject, that particular topic, because people are hungry for it, right? If you could create original IPs with this, and you can have the ability to advertise or whatnot, it'll actually be very good to generate income. However, the thing about it is, I would bring up this topic with them, and they would, it's almost as if they're brushing it off, and they don't have any motivation, and
they're afraid.
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. Take what I just said. And you, what I think I heard you say is you came up with an idea and you took it back to your friends.
No, actually, we were all cultivate our own ideas, and
but your ideas are still with you and your friends, right?
Essentially, yes.
Okay, so what I just said was, look at it like this: you were born to Jackson, whether you were like the Jacksons or not. You were born to Jackson. If you went to Millwoods High School or junior high or elementary, you had to pick friends from your school. You couldn't drive to the next city or the next state to decide who were going to be your friends. You pick from what's available. Same thing in your neighborhood. You go to college, you got however many thousands of people on campus. You pick friends from there. Those are the core of your friends and relationships for the majority of your life. Then after you go out and work into the work world, you still keep the same friends. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, why are you friends with these people? What do you share in common with them now? Like, case in point, when I post something on Facebook, I have friends from college who feel like I should be speaking one way. And I'm like, we're only friends because of circumstance. I wouldn't have picked you. And this is one of the things I try to get me to understand. Go out and pick new friends because you have a different outlook in mind. And if you keep trying to bring your new ideas to your old friends that you really didn't have any choice in picking, you can't be upset that they don't grow. Does that make sense?
You're absolutely right. Oh, go ahead.
I was like, but you see where I'm coming from? Because the frustration is you're talking to your friends, and I'm like, well, what makes them your friend?
You picking in other words, what he's saying, you're picking your friends by your circumstance and not by your interest.
That's it.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to say.
May I say something?
Jump in.
Who's that?
Crew. CRU.
Yeah, CRU.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How about y'all?
Good.
Doing good.
So I got like 2 friends, period.
Okay.
Like
I hope
that
they're
I've
good.
known from high school.
Hopefully they're good. Well, there's your partners, your ride or dies, huh?
Yeah, one of them I've known since I was 5 years old.
Oh yeah.
Everybody else since 5 years old done fell the wayside.
Okay.
One of the oldest ones was a white guy. We were in the crib together at 2 years old. But once I started speaking this Black liberation, like 10 years ago, he fell the wayside.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
He's Italian. But yeah, you're telling the truth. You only have certain friends, and it's only gonna be a certain amount of people that will like ride or die that's with you to the end.
They're more
your mom is one of them.
They're more like family. So your ride or die friends are more like family rather than friends.
Exactly.
So you got to treat them like family, and you don't have to agree with them for them to be your friends. You just they're your boys, they're your family. They're gonna be there for the rest of your life, and they don't share your interests, which is you still need them. The thing is, you should find other friends that share your interests.
I have a teenage daughter. No matter what she does, I'm on code and she's right.
Yeah.
To everybody else. Now within the house, I might talk to her. You know, but to everybody else, no, she did everything right. You know, that's on code. That's how we need to be with each other, like as a black first. You know what I mean? Like we're first, not the I don't know.
Well, we trying to get everybody on code, but the thing is that with black people, that's how come it took me a long time to figure out what was wrong. Okay. Because that's what comes down to culture. You come from 1,000 different places in the first place. You get thrown into slavery. You get thrown to Jim Crow. So you never really had a chance to develop a healthy culture. So you have to understand that. So it's going to take a special effort to bring black people together from what they've been through. That's how come it's so difficult, because other people, other groups have come from an intact culture. It's like Native American, even Hispanics come from an intact culture. White people come from an intact culture. We're the only ones that do not have a perfectly intact culture. We have pieced up what we can to survive. So the thing is, so you have to understand that. So it's hard to get people on code because basically black folks really don't have a code.
That's absolutely true. BGS,
Yes,
I actually want to ask you a question about that very topic, actually.
Go ahead.
So the whole premise of white supremacy is to make sure that agency for Black folks is non-existent. Meaning,
No, the whole premise of white supremacy is world domination for Western European white folks
okay,
all over the
okay,
world. So you go, you if you went to China 50 years ago, it'd be the same thing. You go to South Africa, it's the same thing. If you go to Latin America, it's the same thing. So
mhm,
if you could take the doll. In fact, they did a doll test in Latin America. I think it was either Guatemala or it might have been Mexico. The exact same thing. They picked the white doll because that's how deep the indoctrination goes as far as white supremacy. So it's a world domination across the world, which is now receding. So it has nothing. So you being the reason we notice it is because we are in the belly of the beast.
mhm,
So we
mhm.
feel it directly because we're a minority inside of white supremacy.
Right, right.
The
So
So,
beast is dying, though, isn't it?
yeah, the beast is dying. Well, yeah,
mhm,
the beast is decaying. So basically, white supremacy is almost a decaying corpse right in front of our eyes.
right. So when it comes to the topic of arrested development,
Hmm.
especially with young people in my generation,
Yeah, but that's a generational thing. That's a societal thing. So arrested development not only is happening to you, to
mhm,
black folks, black young millennials, but all millennials across the board. Not particular to black millennials, because you're all trained. Basically, you all went to school. You all learned the same things. They all taught you the same methods. You all watch the same TV. So basically, you eating at the same trough. The only difference is white people have more privilege in the system than you do. That's the only difference.
okay,
Hey,
fair enough.
BGS.
Okay.
BGS.
Yes, sir.
Please, let me just get this out.
Real quick. Go
So
ahead.
I almost got caught up in the same thing, right? I got a girlfriend. I got married.
Mm-hmm.
But my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
she's in Africa. She's been
Okay.
there since she's 5. She's 14. She
Okay.
knows 4 languages
Okay. Cool.
fluently, like college and everything. Like she
What,
chilling.
what what country is she in?
Uh, GH Ghana,
Oh, Ghana.
Accra,
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
East Legon.
Okay.
But
East Ghana. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I know it well.
yeah. I ain't
Yeah.
seen her in a minute though. But you know what I mean. She out there.
Okay. Good. Well, that's
Yeah.
actually that's probably a best place for her rather than
Because I
here.
was thinking the other,
Bec-
if it went the other way, I spent 16 months in jail. If it went the other way, she'd
Okay.
be in Atlanta or
o-
Texas
Okay.
with her mama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
If she's in Ghana, that means she's gonna grow up
with my dad and
to
my
love herself.
stepmom. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she chilling. I'm
Okay.
probably saying too much, but like this is how you gotta do.
I
Sometimes
yeah.
you gotta go off the deep end.
Because my baby daughter is chocolate. And when I went to Ghana 10, 11 years ago, and my
Yeah.
daughter was still small and she's very dark. I said, at the time, I said, I wish I could stay here and bring my daughter here so she could be raised as a dark skinned woman so she can learn to love herself rather than being in America where she has all these issues.
But that's what happened. My daughter, when I took her down there when she was 5, she thought she was better than them because she
Okay.
was a little bit lighter skinned.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
You know, but she got down there and they wasn't going. She was nothing. She
Yeah.
was another regular person.
She's a
You
regular
know,
person. Yeah.
yeah. So you got to do it on your merits, like
Hmm.
Dr. King had been saying what these supremacists be talking about. But
Basically the guys that they're actually on here talking about being supremacists. Okay, they're what they call the nouveau boule, for lack of a better term.
yeah,
The real boule have already been through this, and they're not really fucking with them. The real boule have calmed down and they do what they do because they've already been through this. Now we have another wave of guys that want to be part of the talented 10th and look down on people, and they haven't been through anything. They haven't
and
learned the lessons because
I'll tell you this:
yes, sir.
I was raised as one of the 10th.
You,
You
oh,
know,
you were okay. You raised
but
one of those families. Okay.
yeah, I was raised Jack and Jill, all that.
Okay.
You know
Oh,
what I
so,
mean?
so so why'd you reject the programming?
Oh no, I rejected the programming while I was in the program
I mean, I'm asking why did you reject it? In other
because it
words, you didn't
didn't
want
make sense.
to. Okay. I mean, okay. Well, explain it. What didn't make sense to
Like
you?
I'm from Chicago, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, from the burbs or whatever. But
Yeah.
you go across the street and it's the hood.
Yeah.
You know, we're always attracted to the hood. That's where all the hoes at. That's where all the, you know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
where everything
that's
at.
what everything because they, you know, that's exactly what the Kenneth Clark said that, and also yeah, and Monahan in his report said same thing. That draw, you know, the draw that because that's the heart of the black population, and it doesn't matter if you're the talented 10th or whatever. Where's the draw going to happen? Because where's the excitement? It's going to be with the regular
Right.
folks.
Where they dancing at?
Yeah.
Where's the girls at?
Where the
You know,
girls
where's
at?
the party at?
Where the party at?
Who got the car with the sounds in it?
Yep. And you want to, and you, even though you're in the burbs, you want to belong.
And it's right across the street.
Yeah.
The burbs has never been that far from the hood.
Man, the burbs here in Los Angeles are 40 miles, 30, 40 miles away. Guess what they still do? They still drive down to the hood to party. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's where your people are. And that's where your cult. That's where you because in the hood is where your culture is, whether you like it or not.
No, I love it. But
yeah.
My point is like if you're in Hyde Park, right? You got Hyde Park, Chicago, where Obama was.
Because Obama was, it is, when dating his Jewish woman.
I know Hyde Park.
Dating his Jewish
woman. Outside of that 3 or 4 square blocks, it's over with.
Yeah.
And even within them 4 square blocks, it's over with. There, you know, it's not a That's what I'm saying though. It's like it's all mingled into each other, but it depends on like, you know, what time do you get up and go to work, and what, you know.
Did you see Insecure Issa Rae when she gave the last episode where she gave the party at the Windsor Hill house? I think it was Windsor Baldwin Hill house on the house.
I've not watched Insecure yet.
In other words, those are the kids I went to school with. Those kids on top of the hill in with the big house and the big pool overlooking the you know.
Yeah, I ain't had no pool.
Well,
the guy
you know,
down the street did.
Yeah, what I'm saying is we didn't even have a pool right down the street because we in the hood. What I'm saying is they had a pool in their backyard. And they were actually on top of the hill overlooking the city. Beautiful area. In fact, those hills, the white folks actually trying to take that area back over. But but those are the kids I went to school with, like Ike and Tina Turner's kids, Ray Charles's kids. Those those are the kind. Yeah. Well, like what was it? Who was because I didn't reckon, I went to school with her for years, man. I didn't even know who she was. She was Sidney Poitier's goddaughter, and I had known that chick for years, man. But I'm saying these are the kind of people I went to school with, and so
you sound like me, because if I tell you who I went to school with,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. What I'm saying is, but the thing is, you were born in that area. You were born in that kind of family.
I was born in Chicago.
I don't know, but I'm saying was you were born in that. You were born in that family. So I was a poor kid. I wasn't born in that family. I just went to school with them.
My family was poor though.
Really?
That sounds
both sides.
Huh? Sounds more like me. My mother made sure that I stayed. We were poor. But the one thing that she made sure from kindergarten through 12th grade, I went to one of the best schools in the city, and I rubbed shoulders with the black bourgeoisie Jack and Jill folks. But it's
my mama. One
time.
Oh, sorry.
Finish your story, Kevin.
So what I always noticed was that no matter how much they turned their nose up in that school, they still wanted to come over to Pitt Center, to come over to the.
Hold on a second. Jay Davis, do not run. Do not run, Jay Davis. Email me. I want to bring your ass in. You had a whole lot to say. Do not run. Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, well, no, I was just basically, if he's a conservative, yeah. So here's what I've noticed with millennial men, millennial black men in particular. They have a lot that they want to say and get off their chest. That is why, they've never had a chance to express themselves. So even when they're giving them a chance to come onto a panel or such and so forth, it's like kind of cranking an engine. And then when you finally get it started, it's a runaway train. Once we can finally let these guys get to a point to where they feel like they're being heard and not being shut down, then I think we can finally start moving the ball forward. but I don't think it was enough time on an 8-hour hangout. I would love to actually work with you and maybe Dr. Tiesan Johnson, just put our heads together to see what we can do to start bridging the gap between the millennial black man and the rest of the black male cohort.
Yeah.
To try to get us all on a similar page to where we can all move this thing forward.
Yeah, because I could tell you, because I had, long discussions with him over the phone, and what he's telling me is he's getting a lot of damaged men coming through his program that are lost. Completely lost. Yeah. And they're 18, 19 years old, and they're not finding themselves until they get 30.
BGS, when I went to speak at Langston, Langston was one of the first places I spoke at, because it's the HBCU here in Oklahoma. I spoke at the Black Males Matter Summit. I'm a fixture, right? The last time I spoke, I pretty much give the same boilerplate keynote address that I do, tweaked for the time frame. But the reaction I got from the vice president of the Black Student Association, a lost, angry black young man, it was almost like he walked out. He walked out midway through the presentation. He was so offended that I'm trying to tell him that your image counts. And, I didn't tell him what to wear or anything else like that. I mean, to the point to where it was like a disgrace for the school. And I ended up having a chance to talk to this young man afterwards. He was hostile. He was angry. He was lost. And all I saw was hurt and hurt, anger, and like you said, brokenness. So, and this was the vice president of the Black Student Association. But he is walking through campus with all this on him, and it just blew up in this one spot. So to hear what you're saying Dr. Johnson is dealing with is not a surprise. That's why I keep coming back to this, because it's not being addressed. They're not being talked to. No one's hearing them, and they're just bottling it up. Yeah.
I hear this. I deal with a lot. You see me deal with it a lot here on YouTube, and they're so lost they don't even know what I'm talking about.
So what I would like to see is like when we get on panels and things, not everyone has the same disposition. I have a long rope. I can take a lot, and I would like to be able to further this conversation with some of these young men, and a place to where we won't end up screaming and hollering, because you know what's going to happen. They're going to go off. They're going to get mad. They're going to get emotional. And if we react and respond, it's not going to go anywhere. But once they can only go so far, explode, get emotional, such and so forth. And when it's like, okay, I'm not leaving. I'm not your dad. I'm not what you think your dad was. Now, how do we get to the solution? There is something to be worked with. Because I want these young men to realize, I don't care what it was you were brought up with, how it is right now, you still are in charge of your today and your tomorrow. Even with white supremacy in the system and all that, in your background, and your past, and your whatever, you got the choice, you got the power. Decide to do something with it.
Yeah, I always tell them, that's like when I always start, I always say that first they want to know that it's not their fault. Because they think that we're judging them because we're saying that they're defective and they're inherently defective. They're fucked up. There's something wrong with them. I said you were taught wrong because you raised a daughter. And you know what you probably didn't get as much of a dose as I did. How we're supposed to teach these kids and baby them and make them trophy kids, and everybody's a winner, and blah 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 blah. You know how that kind of stuff goes. Always, hands off, that kind of stuff, which is opposite the way we were raised, right?
Right.
And they thought, well, maybe they're right. Maybe we should try to spare the rod and not spoil the child. Okay. And we realized, wait a minute, that shit didn't work.
Right. And see, for me, I was lucky. I waited till I didn't want to have my first child until 35. I got close. I was 31, but I saw my friends in their 20s doing this. And I was like, and by the time their kids got to be the 8, 10 years old, I started to see, I was like, this helicopter parenting, everybody gets a trophy thing.
Yeah.
It's not bearing what we thought. I was like, and then I thought about it. I was like, why were we the only generation that got all these manuals and all these mother and parenting? And this, I was like,
Yeah.
previous generations did it, but we got 30 manuals
Mm-hmm.
and books and everything else. Was like, what's wrong with this thing? So
Oh,
I took a little bit different of a tact.
Yeah.
But the culture's still the same.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the okay, when we came up and when I came up, okay, we had bigger families.
Right.
We had more, you know, had younger families, more kids on the block, more pushback because you had to deal with a whole bunch of different personalities and kids and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The environment was we didn't have Nintendo, we didn't have all this electronic stuff to keep our attention. We had to actually be outside and engage with people, engage
social
with
skills.
So all those social skills we had to develop because that's the only thing we had. Okay, now because of the environment and because of the urban environment, especially, okay, I think as far as a parent, you know, I don't know what you went through. As a parent, we were more concerned about the child's safety.
Yes. Yes.
Than their growth. So in other words, okay, you can't let them walk to school by themselves because it's dangerous. Okay, you have to pick them up at home. You can't let them run outside.
Yeah, we were forced out of the house at 7. You ate your cereal and got out of the house while the OJs were still playing.
Yep.
And you could go as far as your bike could take you, and you had to be back at home on the porch before the street light. That was the rule.
That was the rule. Yeah.
And anybody could, and if you messed up at somebody's house, you got a whooping over there.
You got a whoop.
You got a whooping, especially if we had a whole different set of circumstances.
Yeah, you had a village. You had social responsibility because you're not only responsible to your parents, but you're responsible to the whole community. So we had a whole different outlook.
See, when I turned around 13, I think 13 or 14, that's when the Atlanta child murders started to happen.
Yeah,
that's when there was really a kind of change in the community. When, you know, we had never seen anything like that happen to young Black kids en masse. So my cousin, who's 8 years my junior, he grew up in the same kind of family structure, but he actually went looking to become the street.
Okay.
He actually had all that solid middle class, everything else.
Yeah.
But
my nephew did the same thing. Yeah.
And he didn't quit until he ended up in Penn.
Did PID. Yeah, my nephew did a couple of bids. He was actually my nephew was actually an honor roll student throughout middle school and high school. He got a scholarship to go to college playing football. So he was an athlete. He was a honor roll student. He had good grades, and all of a sudden, when he got 20, he wanted to become a thug.
Well, see, the funny thing with this one is his uncle was the Mac I always talk about, right? And that was not a hell. And he was in the streets until they found out my cousin was going to be born. Then he found out he was having a daughter. He squared up just like that. He dropped the Mac and became a square when his daughter was born and never looked back. Okay. But my I don't want to use him by his name, but their older brother, the guy who's my same age, his younger brother, the one I'm talking about, who was drawn to the street, he really couldn't understand it, but he used to have some kind of dysfunctional behaviors. Turns out that he was being
it was touched. He was being touched.
Yeah, by my cousin, the one my age. And I'm like, what? Okay. And then when his sister was on the way through, he was kind of staying up one eye to watch his sister because he knew what he had done to him. And now it all kind of makes sense. I'm like, well, no wonder this cat was so.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we do the other way. Yeah.
But then, you know, of course, we can't talk about that in the family. So it was just kind of on that low. And, you know, so many of these things are so commonplace to where guys don't have a way to talk about it. And we got to get to a point to where we can talk about. That's why I did so much time counseling with alcoholics and addicts. And not that I excuse the behavior. I just try to understand where they're coming from. That's why I kind of gravitated towards image. What I really do is psychology.
Yeah, it is.
They just don't understand what I'm doing with them. Yeah. And because what it gets right down to it is guys are drawn to your platform for whatever reason, that whether or not it's the voice, whether or not it's the father figure, they are drawn here. That is a talent. So many people don't really, you have it, you've always had it, but realizing that this is a 1 in 100,000 talent to be able to use this to effectively make some change because we're in that moment of time where we are connected with the internet worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
We can actually make an impact and change the people's lives that aren't necessarily in California or Oklahoma. They can be all over the place because here's the thing. If we don't talk to them, someone's going to get to them. Then what? What's the alternative? That's always my thing. When I hear these extreme arguments from men or women, I'm like, well, what the hell's the alternative?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
cool. You got that guy on here? I'm about to.
No. He said he's going to join me Saturday. He said he's got to go to work in the morning. So,
well, that's all I kind of wanted to come on while you were waiting, while those other guys were.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's how come. A lot of times I just want to throw in the towel and like say forget it. But I know that this. My teacher, DC, gave it to me, and it's up. It's incumbent on me to actually repay the favor by paying it forward. That's why I do what I do.
But I also get the emails from guys telling me that you've changed my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I get them. Yeah. They're starting to become more and more frequent.
Yeah.
And it's not. I remind myself, it's not the people in the comment section. Mm-hmm. It's not the people in the chat room. Mm-hmm. It's that silent one.
That never comments.
Yeah. That never comments, never chats. Probably a patron. They're just sitting there and they're absorbing. And next thing you know, you get this email out of the blue, an email or an IM, and it's this 4-page. I'm like, well, who are you? And it's like, holy. And you see somebody's life unfold, and at the end, they're thanking you, and you're like, I just got a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But it's
can I be honest with y'all for a second?
Say what, Typhoon?
Can I be honest with y'all for a second?
Go ahead.
Actually, I'm one of those dudes. I've been listening to the channel for quite some time now, and I listen to it when I'm at work. I listened to it a few years ago when I was, just starting my new job. I was listening to it my time in school when I was on student council. I've actually sat down and listened to you guys, really, dig into the topics that you guys discuss. And, I've actually took the time in order to reflect on it myself, because there was a time when I was, I was actually, like, I'm still a millennial. There was a time when I was lost as hell. You see what I'm saying? However, it's definitely very refreshing to sit back and listen to you guys, talk about these various topics, to where, it's not so much you're having these thoughts by yourself anymore, or more so you can put your thoughts on the table and really put them under a microscope and ask yourself, why do you think this? Why do you feel this? What is it that, what is it? Or how did this even get inside of your head? Those are the real questions that you want to ask yourself in order to really have the ability to move forward to whether or not this is actually beneficial to your life. And if it's not beneficial, then there's only one other option to deal with it. You have to discard it. That's the only way you're going to grow.
We get basically, me and Kevin are just giving you the hack code.
Yeah,
we're not telling you what to do with it, but giving you the hack code. If you want to change who you are and what you do for the better or not, we're giving you the hack code. That's all we're doing.
And I'll admit, as a boy, I was always that boy. My dream, I wanted to be a father. I wanted to be a father. I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted I wanted that.
The 2.3 children with the white.
I wanted it all. I wanted it.
And the perfect wife.
I looked at my father and what I thought he was, and I said, you know what? The one thing he did do for me is he gave me a great template of what not to be. That is something I used to always say to myself, and I thought it was positive fuel, but it was kind of it was inconsistent. However, as I, and here's the thing, every time I went on, because I had no brothers growing up, I just had my mother. When I went to college, it was the first time I was going to have a chance to have some brothers, because it was still back in the days of old school pledging. I pledged Kappa by myself. 13 people tried to get online. I was the only one. Everywhere in life that I wanted a family, I wanted this, and I wanted that. I never got what it is I wanted, even though I go after it all. I could never have future planned an internet. Even when I have my one child, I was like, I will have my son, my legacy. No, I got a daughter. She's more like me than anything else, but she doesn't. She will take someone else's last name should she get married. But the funny thing is, this getting online has allowed me to have legacy. It has allowed me to be people. There are guys who, Uncle Kevin. I'm like, it's kind of weird when they first said it. You're like, dad I never had, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm trying to tell guys about. You can pick. I had my life, my circumstances, my ups, my downs, my fuck ups. I ain't shit too. I ain't shit. I'm just like anybody else. I ain't shit. But I do the best with the shit I have. And you can choose. You can choose. I put a post up on Facebook today. You can be 50, but guess what? You still got another 25, 30 plus years. Life is long. You have a choice.
Yeah, you have a choice.
And so many young men need to understand what you said earlier, BGS. You ain't supposed to have it all figured out until you're about 40. And even if you fall short, you can still change. You can still do something. But you have to accept the fact that you can do that with all the situations, all of them. And guess what? It's really up to you. And here's the thing, whether you're a janitor or whether you're a CEO, when a man is that way in his mind, he grab other men like him gravitate towards him. Whether he ever has a family, a wife, or whatever, women respect him. And he's just in the best place for him, the best version of himself, so in his best mental space. So we all come at this from a different way, but we're trying to empower men to be the best version of themselves for themselves. So that's why I want to do this. And I'm glad to see people kind of gravitate to your panel and your channel, and you put content out there that I couldn't. And when I do come to this channel, I get a chance to speak about stuff that really doesn't make sense on my channel because of my brand and my business. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's all food for these young guys and ourselves.
And you do stuff that I can't do.
Yeah.
Because they don't you're basically you're an alchemist, man.
Yeah.
And they don't know it.
Drop the link for the alchemist, please.
Or just type something. You actually can go to his channel. Hit the 3 dots and it'll take you right to his channel. Kevin is an alchemist. You know, I'm gonna start calling him Kevin the Alchemist because that's what he really does. Because he works magic on the subconscious. He works magic with the chemicals, which is with the scents. Those are there's a very esoteric colors, scents, sights, sounds are all esoteric, very esoteric ways of doing things. And Kevin does an esoteric side. He actually makes it seems simple because the way he explains it. But the thing is, there's a very esoteric science behind everything that he does.
You know, there's nothing. I thought you experience joy when you first see your daughter, and when you accomplish things. But when you hear another black man, a young black man, finally have some hope in his voice and see it for himself,
and he gets it, and
then he gets it.
It reminds you of you when you got it.
Yeah, and that he's like, oh wow, I can be all that. And then they start to see it. It's like, oh my God, I did what you said, and I did this, and I tried that. It's like watching your own child walk.
Like like the what they call them, not the black thing. We call themselves the black think tank with Linnell and Mike V. Even though half of them can't stand me anymore. Okay, but the thing is, I see them starting to get what I've been trying to teach them, where they're actually seeing the world differently, and they're actually talking about politics and how politics shapes business and stuff like that. And I see the seed growing. I said, okay, they're on the path. They don't even know that they're on the path, but they're on the path. They said they're getting it. They're actually getting it. They're actually branching out. Go ahead.
So when men are the best version of themselves, the world is a better place.
It's a better place. That's what it is.
What it comes down to.
And so the thing is, Kevin is humble about what he does. Okay. He's really humble about what he does because he makes it so simple. It makes it seem like anybody could do this because he's giving you the cheat code to actually hack the unconscious. But if you actually delve into esoterically what he's actually doing, said, oh, I see why he picks this scent. I see why he picks these colors. I see why he picks those glasses. I see why he depicts the form that you're actually doing. I see why he tells you how to change up as far as the mood and how to get somebody feel a certain way. Okay, that's part of advertising, because that's what advertising does. They're hacking the unconscious, and he's been doing that for 30 years, but he's applying it to your image. Image, you know, I think Dadisi says, he said, what's the most powerful influence in the world, which is will. And he said, what is will? He said, what is God? God before will, God is image. And basically Kevin is giving you the God mode, or the cheat code, to hack the God inside other people. And I said, if you listen to him, because people think a fragrance is girly, or fragrance doesn't mean anything. But the thing is, your sense of smell is the one thing that bypasses everything in your conscious mind. It will bypass everything before sight, before sound, before everything. Smell, because if somebody puts on your favorite dish, and you can smell the food rising from the kitchen, right? It bypasses your subconscious, your conscious
grandma's
cookies, all that kind of stuff. So,
might I interrupt you real quick, BTS?
Go ahead, Sierra.
I watch Bonanza. You ever seen that show?
Yes. I grew up with it.
Yeah. All right. So you know Hoss. You remember the Chinese dude? He's like, man, he's cooking this, whatever.
Yeah.
Hoss like 20 miles, 30 miles the other way, about to get killed. He killed them, and he said, I know Chow Mein that made this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it was Hop Sing.
Yeah, Chop Sing.
Chop Sing, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my point. Like, man, it's the same shit. These motherfuckers do this shit.
I may have to do just I may have to think of an esoteric series and just on the five senses and how they affect the subconscious and stuff like that. Because Kevin does an excellent job of how to hack their subconscious. That's what he does. He just didn't tell you that's what he does.
Thank you. But you know, when I was growing up, I'm a geek. And I love Dungeons and Dragons. And the character that I always liked playing, I was never the warrior. I was the wizard. I was the mage.
You were the mage. Okay.
I was the mage, because the mage, I like to work with, there were all, there was the thief, or there's a warrior, there's a cleric, and then there's a mage. Those are the four primary ones. And the mage always starts out the weakest. He has no armor. He cannot get through the world by himself. He needs a warrior. The warrior is the strongest initially because he has strength, he can wield weapons. But if you give the mage enough time to grow and develop, the mage is the one that you need, like Gandalf. He's the one thing that is needed throughout the entire thing. And then when you come up against the biggest enemy, when you can't throw it with regular weapons, through melee or archery, you call upon magic. Image. I'm mage, and image is the ultimate magic a person can
that's lit.
I would tell every young person, every millennial, read The Alchemist. By Paulo Coelho.
Yeah.
Read The Alchemist. Coelho. Yeah, read The Alchemist.
Hey, I got
a whole bunch of other books.
All right, Kevin.
Go ahead. Does somebody have a question?
Yeah. I just wanted to ask a quick question before I leave, because I got work in the morning.
Okay.
I am T-minus 2 months away from my 5-year plan. Do you guys have any advice?
For your 5-year plan, it's kind of hard to know without knowing what your 5-year plan. Basically, what you do is you start with the 5-year plan, the overall goal. You break it down into the year, and from number of years, you break it down into to quarters, and then when you break it down to quarters, you break it down into 90-day schedule. If you work on your plan every day without fail, because the hardest thing is what? Consistency. If you break it down into days, into steps every day. In other words, what they said, if you break down the image into finer and finer steps until you get down to the bare minimum, you will accomplish it, because you know exactly what step to take every single day. And if you do it every day, you will accomplish it, because you have no choice.
Yep.
Because the biggest thing is where you put your awareness, and Kevin can tell you where you put your awareness and put your energy. That's where the energy will go, and that's where you accomplish most.
What consumes your thoughts controls your life.
Close your life. Indeed, it does. It's not
Indeed.
at all. So basically, get your image board, 5-year plan. Where do you want? Where are you now? Where you have to have a goal. In other words, you have to imagine what your ending goal is. If this is, they teach us in sales all the time. You have to imagine the end as clearly as you can. What really do you want? And actually get it down to material. Well, so if you wanted a house, say a 5-year plan, you wanted a big house. Okay. What does the house look like? How many rooms does it have? What does the floor look like? What kind of windows does it have? Where is it located? All that stuff. And then you get into, okay, what does it cost? What does it cost? How do we know, what does it cost? This is the price tag. Once you know that, how, I'm 5 years out. How do I get there? What do I need to do to actually get to that problem? You work yourself backwards. Actually, you don't go forward with your 5-year plan. You work backwards. What's the goal? And you start with your 5-year plan. You work backwards. So you cut down. This is my goal. Year 5, year 4, year 3, year 2, year 1, and then you cut that up into quarters, and then you cut those up into days, and you work that plan every single day. If you work it every single day, it'll consume you. And if it consumes you, you get it.
That's one thing of purpose. So you said you're 2 months away from starting it or finishing it?
I'm 2 months away from starting it.
Cool.
Yeah. In other words, make yourself an image board. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. It's old school. It's nothing new. Make yourself an image board and put down every single detail that you can think of what is you're trying to accomplish. And then you sit there at that image board. If you can put it up next to your bed or over your bed, sit it late when you go to sleep, you look at it. When you wake up, you look at it, and then you get you a dry erase board, and you start marking off the days and say where, working backwards, where do I need to start? And you start with day 1. I need to go here. I need to find this. It's almost like a quest, like a not a vision quest, but a what is it used to call it, where you actually got to find odd items? What they used to call those, where you have to find things.
It's the egg hunt, the journey.
No. When you have, they send you out to find all these odd items and stuff like that. I forget what they call it. A scavenger hunt. A scavenger hunt.
That's it.
Basically, it's one big scavenger hunt. You have to gather the materials to actually build this dream, and that's what you have to do. And you have to build it one step at a time. The thing is, you have to put all those items in your awareness, because the thing is, what Shinjin Young taught us is that, okay, we have a filter. Okay, every human being, because you cannot take all the stimuli that comes into your eyes, into your awareness. You can't take it. You couldn't function. So you have to focus on what you want, and when those things will actually come through your filter, and as soon as it comes to your filter, you'll recognize, oh, I need that. I need this job. I need this particular person to get me here, there, whatever. Okay, and then you will actually start that way, because you're going to realize, this is what I need. I need to make this. I need this is what I have, and this is where I need to go. So I need this, this, and this, and this. It's like playing a game online, because Dungeons and Dragons is basically the same thing, because you have to accumulate things on the way to before you actually get to the big dragon. And if you miss a step, you have to go back and get it.
Hey guys, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, Kevin.
Have a good night.
All right. Hey, BTS.
Yes, sir.
May say one more thing. Just like you said, Dungeons and Dragons, just like the game. All right. See, it took me till like 35 to get on, to get right, like start focusing.
Okay. All right.
I'm not 35, but
yeah.
But when you talk to the 20-year-olds, the 25-year-olds, they don't want to hear anything, because everything is all life and bubbly.
One thing is that there's input. In other words, it's input. They're still bringing in input to find out because they're separated from their parents finally, and now they have to find out who they are. You really don't find out.
Maybe they're separated from their parents.
Well, yeah. What I'm saying is, really, you don't really find out who you are till you're 30.
Yeah, because they said you're not really a mature man until 37.
Really to 40.
Like fully mature.
Fully mature at 40, because at 40, Okay, it's maybe I have to
No,
do this.
I'll get that to you. It's all still the same.
Yeah, but basically I have to put the chart out because they really say 42, but
But it's not 20. It's not
oh no,
25.
because
It's
no,
not.
because in your 20s, from 21 to 28, basically it's accumulate. You're still accumulating, right? You're experimenting. Okay, I
Yeah.
think I'm this person, but I found out I'm not. I think I'm that person. I found out I'm not. I think I can do this. I found out that I can't.
But don't we all make the mistake of, oh, this is my wife and have kids and do all that within the I'm still finding out myself age?
Well, it used to be a form. Okay, it used to be a form where your parents actually helped you because your parents know who you are because they saw you at birth. They used to
They
help
still
you.
do in my case, but
So in other words, when you have a wife, well, a young wife, usually you find out together because
yeah.
it's a matter of her accepting. Because the thing is, she has to accept her for who she is, and you have to do the same thing at the same time.
Okay,
And
gentlemen, I'm about to call it a night. Y'all take
all
care.
right, bro.
Y'all be cool.
Yeah, I got about another 30 minutes before I conk out. Yeah. So basically, you're basically in your 20s, you're finding out who you really are, and it doesn't matter whether it's separate or whether you're married or whatnot. You still have to go through the same process, and hopefully, it used to be that marriage was you were forced to be together. So if you
Yeah.
got married at 21, 20, or even 18, okay, you just couldn't get out. So you had to get to 30 and find out, oh, you know what, I might not
You
like
know
you,
how much
and vice
younger it
versa.
was with our grandparents.
Oh yeah, they started in
Come
the
on, ask
20s.
your grandparents how old they was, or your
Yeah, yeah,
great grandparents.
but they're like 16, 17 years old. But the thing is,
No, younger than that.
okay, the difference is it depends. But the difference is that um them and it's some in some small fashion, even me, okay, the girls were trained to be wives. Okay, they were trained for a role. So
Yeah.
they could do that role no matter how they felt because that's what they're brought up to be that way. They're trained to be that way. You still did your function no matter. You could actually do your function in your sleep. You actually because you saw it, you felt it, they taught it. So by the time you get 15, 16, 17, you're already a husband, you're already a wife. You just need to mature in that. So when you got to 30, um, basically everything's already rolling and you're too involved in it to actually just chuck it away. Because that means you have to start all over. So I can keep doing my role no matter what, even though I might not feel like it today, or I might not feel like I like myself today, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's like when you come to work, okay? If you've been
Yep.
doing the same job for 10 years, it doesn't matter what you feel like, you can do it in your sleep, right?
Yeah. Oh man.
Same
You
thing with
know
being a
what?
husband and wife. But the
Yeah.
thing is, they broke that form where they taught kids to be individuals. Okay, you can be individuals and you can express yourself individually. You don't have to be a wife. You don't have to be a mother. You don't
Yeah,
have to be
but you
all that
can
shit.
express yourself individually. I don't mean to cut you off, but you
Go
can
ahead.
express yourself individually, but within that marriage.
Well, the thing is, they didn't teach you to do it within a marriage. They didn't teach you a role. They didn't
Yeah.
give you a role. They didn't give you a function. They never taught it. So by the time you say you marry a girl, even if she's 25, she doesn't know how to be a fucking wife. She's never been taught. So she
Yeah.
has to learn all that stuff on the fly.
Oh, and what I'm saying is,
And
and
yeah, go
not
ahead.
to be like no pervert or nothing, but
Hmm.
what I'm saying is like my grandparents, that shit was like the 13 and 20.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's how it was 90
be-
years ago.
because
How many years ago?
you didn't
That's
have
how it was.
you didn't have birth control, and the only
No,
reason
they had birth control. They had birth control in Egypt. Come on, man. I read all the books.
nah, what I'm saying is it's not the modern birth control.
The same modern birth control they had in Egypt.
All right, well, bro, you had to send me that one.
I'll send you the text.
All right, all right.
I'll put my email there. Shoot
What,
me the email. I'll send it back to you.
you have my email because you had to I had to email you the link.
Oh yeah. I'll use that one.
So in other words,
Hello?
the only reason they extended the age of maturity is so that girls could actually finish high school. It's the only reason.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hey, do you watch Irritated Genie?
I haven't listened to Irritated Genie since 2007.
Is what he said wrong though?
About what?
The homosexual agenda.
Oh
The,
yeah, yeah.
hom-
No, he's not wrong. We said
the
that years ago.
homosexual agenda turned into pedophilia.
Yeah, of course. We said that years ago. He learned that from us. Yeah, I said that back in 2003.
Pedestry.
Oh, Liquid Oscillate, you got YouTube playing in the background?
Yeah, my bad. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But that pedestry, right?
No, what the thing is that okay, when you that's what I said back in 2003 when we actually talked to the Irritated Genie. Okay, normal is a circle, right? It's a barrier. In other words, inside that circle is what we consider acceptable or normal for society, right?
Yeah.
And everything outside that is what we call abnormal, right? Okay. Say you accept homosexual and basically gay marriage, which gay marriage is not about being married, it's about being accepted into normal society, right? Now
Yeah.
they were formerly on the outside, right? Now they're on the inside of normal, right? Who else is lined up to be normal? And where do you
They're
stop?
forcing that normal.
That's what I'm talking about. In other words, what's normal and who's accepted inside that normal circle and where does it stop? Who do you leave out? And thing is, we have once you started accepting people inside as normal that used to be not normal, where do you stop?
They're
That's
gonna
the
stop
issue.
at Bosco the Pitbull.
Pedophilia.
Say what it might even go further than that. We don't know where it's gonna stop.
Yeah, they the other day they had a TED talk with a female trying to say that pedophilia is a natural situation, and Twitter
Yeah.
started going crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, so now
Eh,
they trying to take it a step
If
further.
you knew where I lived at, it's all farms.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They fuck they fucking animals.
Oh yeah. They've been doing that for years. Yeah. But that's not coming. It was against the Bible. It was in the Bible. If you believe in such a thing, it's in the Bible that you couldn't do that, right? You couldn't lay with sheep or lay with animals, right? So they're doing it back then. It's not new. The thing is, that's
It didn't need the Bible to tell no person that though.
oh yeah, you do. You have to lay down societal rules, otherwise everything goes. They don't know until you lay the rule down. You have to be
I
socialized.
mean, I thought a normal person would understand
No,
that
no.
you don't sleep with them fucking animals.
What is normal? How do you know what normal is?
Yeah, you're right. That's what I also wanted to ask you. How is it that you have no morals, but you're for black people?
How do
That's no. Remember, you said you don't have no morals. Like, oh, you're not like morally guided or something like that.
Moral? No, what it's saying is moral. Okay, morals is not built into your brain. It has to be taught. And what's moral in the United States is not necessarily moral anyplace else, because some things go someplace else and don't go here. What moral changes according to the society that you're in. Like it's immoral to eat people. You go to a village where they hunt heads or they shrink skulls. They eat people. Okay, so moral changes. It's societal rules determine what's moral.
But what makes you think that's immoral? Because they eat their dead in some places, but that's after they're dead. They don't kill them to eat them. But they do that to take their, you know what I mean?
The spirit, yeah. So what I'm saying is, but in the United States, it's immoral.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like you said, I heard on your last video, you said you're like amoral or immoral.
Amoral means it doesn't mean immoral. Amoral.
Yeah, no, because if you're fighting for black people, then you have some set of
you have codes.
Standards.
When I say I'm an amoral pragmatist, in other words, when I say amoral means
that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Amoral. So please, if you can,
amoral means I don't put my feelings or my morality into analyzing. In other words, as far as my stance, as far as politically, anything else, I'm an amoral pragmatist. I go by what works. Amoral pragmatist. That's what they do. In other words, if you take it to its logic, its end. Okay, to get things done? Is it
I'm gonna live by any means.
well, it's like Thanos. Thanos is, in his version, is amoral pragmatist. In other words, is it he doesn't care whether it's moral or not to actually eliminate half the beings on in the universe, because it, according to his equation, for the universe to thrive and be healthier, you need to get rid of half the people, which morally that's wrong according to most societies, but a amoral
I got
pragmatist.
you.
So
I
that's the
got
amoral
you.
pragmatist. Yeah.
I got you, BTS. Because all right, say the ship went over, Titanic, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one floaty thing to
Mm-hmm.
go down river.
Mm-hmm. Who do you put on it?
And it's me and you fighting for it.
If it's me and you, then nigga, you going over the board, overboard.
No, but yeah, right?
You going overboard.
You kill me, I kill you, right?
Yeah. Well,
Is that moral or not?
that's pretty simple. It's called survival.
Yeah. Now we could say, oh, let's both ride the shit down.
What I'm saying
You
is,
know?
if the option is both ride this stuff down and we can both survive, then there's no problem, is there?
Yeah. But normally, because we're in this situation, everybody's on some hyped up shit. Nobody's gonna say that. No, it's my raft. It's my shit.
No, what I'm saying, that's not being amoral. Amoral pragmatism to say what is the proper thing to do. The proper thing to do is put the children on it first. That's the proper thing to do.
Yeah. No, we sent the children all the way down on 3 rafts.
If one right, well, if it was one raft left, then basically
Now
now,
it's reality and BTS.
yeah.
CRU and BTS.
No, if this last spot on the
Now
boat,
if we're
if
really there, if we're
if
really there,
if
we'll
all, if
shake
all
hands
if all
and
the women
say,
if all the children are gone, and it's just down to me and you, and there's one spot left, then okay, the best man win.
we can ride it down, but goddamn, if it go over the Niagara Falls, it's gonna be a fight. You know what I mean?
Jump in, Oscillate.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to talk about how you felt about like the whole sexual market value thing, like in regards to, I heard you earlier talk about how you said that when you hit your 40s, that it's a wrap, but like
Mm-mm. When I say when
when
you
I
hit your
read
40s, it's a wrap as far as as
in
far
ter-
as as far as
in
changing
terms
who
of
changing.
potentiality
Yeah,
and
basically at your 40s is really, really difficult to switch gears at 40, because now you're fighting not only the ingrained mentality of 40 years of everything else, but also your body too.
okay,
Yeah.
Woo!
And the further you
yeah,
go along, then you basically fighting two different things. Whereas in your 20s, you just fighting your you're just fighting your mental state, because your body can run forever, but in your 40s, you can't run forever, boss.
yeah.
So
I
BTS, what
Hmm.
are you missing
What are you missing as far as what?
being in the 40s?
You
Like I'm gonna catch up to you like real soon.
because you're what,
But
mid
like
30s. You're mid 30s. You're probably already feeling it now. Okay, you don't feel the same way as you did in your 20s.
yeah, my knees start hitting me, but I'm
Yeah.
not 40 yet.
No, you don't have to be 40. In other words, okay, it's dependent. It's not a perfect science. But the thing is, um, uh, flexibility, your power pretty much stays. But the thing is, your joints or start to dry up. Testosterone starts to go down. It starts to ebb down. It's not a cliff. The thing is, you can start feeling the decline. Because when you're in your 20s, all you need is a stiff breeze. Okay, but
yeah.
in your mid 30s, you need motivation. You need more motivation. In other
Hey,
words,
yeah,
you
yeah.
you
How you
Late
doing?
30s, you
How you
need
doing, fellas?
motivation and everything.
no, the thing is, you can say no. In your 20s, you can't say no. Okay, pussy shows up, you can't say no. In mid 30s, you can start to say no.
Late
That's
30s, you
because of
say,
mere mortals,
cook me some
BGS.
food.
Say what, Charles?
That's because of mere mortals in their 30s.
Well,
They're not
hey.
a thought breaker.
Hey, brother, you still need the axe, okay? Before you didn't need the axe. You need
Well,
the axe
that's
now. You need the axe
what,
now.
what,
Go ahead,
what do you
let's
think they've been calling the act? What do you think the ladies been calling the act for years, man?
go ahead. Go ahead, Oscillate.
Yeah, so BTS, I was gonna change the
Well,
subject
what about
real
Ocelot? I
quick
like
in
that.
regards to like
I can barely hear you. I'm gonna pot you up, but
oh
I can
sorry
barely hear
about
you.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so I was gonna change the subject real quick in regards to black people and the cultural aspect of certain situations. So I've been reading a lot of you know, other stuff like, you know, other doctrines and stuff, you know. I delve into certain other things. So I came across an article a while ago in regards to how trauma is transmitted, like how you could transmit
Oh,
trauma
you're
through
talking about what do they call it? What do they call it? Trying to
Post
remember.
traumatic syndrome.
No. In other words,
you
I
could
can be trans
transfer like trauma through
through the
like
DNA.
genetics,
Yeah,
like
through the genetics. In other words, it causes a genetic expression, and you can pass it down to your offspring. I'm trying to remember what they call it. I can't remember the name of the
I,
term that they
I
use.
had I had saved a bookmark. I'll email it to you, bro. But
Okay,
I
yeah,
think I already did.
I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember the term. But
Yeah, so you know,
yeah, I mean, people say I've heard people say it. It's some people say that it's not possible, and then other people that say that it is. So we'll accept that it is, that it can be trauma can be transferred through the DNA.
so I came, you know, I'm reading certain stuff, so I came across that the reason why that's another particular reason why that a lot of people can't, like, us as a collective can't work together because due to the trauma of seeing other black men getting eviscerated and murdered so brutally,
Mm-hmm.
that type of trauma
Mm-hmm.
passed into our system for a certain period of time, and due to that psychological trauma, it was transferred to us, and
It's
that's
also,
why it's
but it's also transferred to. It's also because a lot of
Culture.
people don't want to admit culture and how sticky culture actually is, and how people don't want to admit how powerful culture actually is because how it's difficult to change because
Mhm.
so a lot of people
Yeah.
are actually putting off on other things. But the thing is, a cultural pattern takes a very long time to abate. If you're trying to change it, it takes a long time to abate. If you're not trying to change it, it can never get fixed. I was just talking about when I was going back and forth with a Mary Brown, right? I was
Mhm.
showing that what went on as far as welfare in the '60s went on in welfare in the '20s. Same
Yeah.
thing, the exact same thing about women getting on welfare to feed their kids and lying about their old man not being with them and all this shit. That shit was back there, and it wasn't. It didn't just happen in the '60s. That had been going on for a long time. It's just a cultural pattern that never got fixed.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mm?
BG, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, man, look, you made them to what you call it, and they didn't want to hear it. I listened to, you know what I mean? I listened to Cynthia. I listened to all of that shit. They didn't want to listen to it.
They heard it. They didn't want to admit they were
Yeah,
wrong.
but they
They heard
didn't want to listen to it. They wanted to say, "Oh, it's this and that, this and
it.
that." Like it's the
They, they,
same.
they,
What the
they,
fuck?
they can say it. You can say it. And that's what I was telling Obsidian. You can say it, but the thing is, you have to prove it. See, I showed my
Yes.
proof. I showed my. That's what I
I
told him
like
the
to
last
say
time when I emailed because he wanted to go back and forth with me. I said, if you're not going to raise up your discourse to the standard that I put forth, don't even bother. 'Cause I'm not even go back and forth with you.
But see, he just wants to go through the rhetoric and just get key points.
Hmm.
He doesn't want to go through the
Bring
scientific
the proof.
observations.
All they got to do is bring the proof.
He doesn't want to do that. So the thing is, see, when I say it, when I do it, I'm always expected to do what prove what I say, right?
Hmm.
I got
And
you.
and
Or,
they
ha-
can
or have it
and
disproven.
they can just talk about it and dismiss, oh, that doesn't exist or that's not true. They never have to show that shit. But but I can be on an 8-hour hangout and I can say one thing and I always get a comment, somebody disagreement and want me to prove what I said for like 30 seconds in an 8-hour hangout.
Hey, I'm pretty sure all of y'all done listen to what's the name? Callaway. We're all from here, right?
Kel, who?
We're all from here, not from Africa, right?
We're all
That
from here.
yeah,
Okay.
that
Uh,
Callaway guy.
oh yeah, I've heard that. What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
okay, you can say it, okay, but the
No,
thing is,
yeah, no,
yeah, what I'm saying, what I'm saying,
I'm
what
not gonna try to
I'm saying,
throw no.
he can say it,
Yeah,
I said,
Dane Calloway.
yeah, it doesn't matter what they say because I could care less what they say. Okay,
No, I agree with him a lot of the ways. Though.
okay, what I'm saying is you can agree with him, prove it.
No, what? I'm not on that level right
And
now.
one thing is,
I'm talking about our own conversation,
your own conversation. What are you talking about, man?
like what we were just talking about. Like, this shit.
I'm not getting you.
Never mind.
Our own
Never mind.
conversation.
Never mind.
What I'm saying is,
Now,
what I'm saying is, when I actually prove something wrong and actually dig deep into it, I don't just go to a text. I actually build a whole narrative and theme. Actually show charts and slides and cause and effect, all that stuff. They don't do that shit.
Yeah, no, we're not. My whole point was that's where I got threw off. My whole point was we're not supposed to be fighting against each other at all. We're all supposed to be bringing more information and more information. That's all.
Yeah, once again, if you have
We all have been taught in our own. You know what I mean? Some of us went to public school. Some of us went to private school. Some of us, you know what I mean?
if it's an intellectual discourse, then if you have two opposing theories, you're supposed to bring out your facts and evidence from opposing theories because there's some facts that you're actually going to bring out that I might agree with and actually can use. That's what it's supposed to be. So think about discourse.
Hey, that's what I love.
BGS.
That's what's up.
Go ahead, Liquid.
I want to reiterate on the millennial situation. So,
all right, go ahead.
I
You're
know
all over the place, but go ahead.
I'm
you
all over the place, right?
you must be a Metal Gear Solid fan, aren't you?
Yes, big time. No, because I haven't been on the hangout in a while. Like last time we spoke was like a year and a half ago, because I've been having technical
you're a Metal Gear
so I'm
Solid
just
fan.
trying to because I know you trying to get off in 30 minutes. I know you want to turn into an all night thing.
Nah.
So just to reiterate on the whole millennial situation. And the funny thing is, I was having a discussion with my cousin in regards like I have a lot of family that's like into music and stuff. So we was having a discussion. So when Kevin brought up the whole millennial thing, and I was thinking about the situation, like I noticed that we was having. I'm starting to see it immediately in my immediate circle. It's like it's not difficult for me to deal with men because, like I said, a lot of my uncle, my father, my cousins, and them. There's a lot of there's a lot of people that I grew up to. There's even people now that like that I have mentors. I consider you a mentor also. So there's a lot of people that I don't really have that much difficulty in dealing with certain people. But when Kevin mentioned the situation in regards to like how millennials they feel certain situations. So long story short, we were talking about music. So basically I was like, my cousins, they really into me. They know they shit. Like, so okay. So we were talking about how vocally Michael Jackson wasn't like the best vocally. So we started bringing up like Jeffrey Osborne, Donny Hathaway, all these other stuff. Like all these other Jeffrey Osborne, Donny Hathaway, was Eddie Kendricks, David Ruffin. We started bringing up all these people.
Which version of Michael Jackson are we talking about?
Just Michael Jackson in general.
If you're talking about young Michael Jackson, if you're talking about young Michael Jackson, he had one of the most purest voices I've ever heard in my life.
Who compared to Donny Hathaway in them?
Hell yes.
Okay,
hell yes.
Well,
hell yes.
You gotta think young
older Michael Jackson.
Young Michael Jackson. We talk about from 10 years old up until he was like maybe 16, 17.
Okay, I'll give you that. So, but when he got
you
older,
already know.
They were basing it off of that. Like,
well, he didn't have his voice changed, so no, he was trying to keep his register up, and because so naturally he wouldn't be as far as tone is concerned, he's not going to be the same singer, but technically he's probably as far as how he delivers, it's probably good. But a young Michael Jackson, when he was young, when he had a pure voice, his pure childhood falsetto, or soprano, I should say, it wasn't a better voice could be heard. That's what he based his reputation off of. He listened to the early Jackson 5.
Yeah, I listened to a lot of that too. But long story short, right? We was having a discussion. So I feel after he got older, it's like, all right, cool. Like he was dope. You know what I'm saying? He was cool. He was popping.
He was more entertainer. Short,
yeah, he was more of an entertainer. So I was basing it off when he got older. more so than when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, yo, vocally, he's not really, you know, up there like that compared to the dudes that I just mentioned. Like they were consistent to the end. So it's like he's having he's just like, oh, and we giving him examples and we telling him that, well, if you listen to these certain people, it's like basically, long story short, you're making like he never listened to nobody else. So these are people that are around me that are actual musicians and they doing certain things, right? And they have an understanding of musical theory and all that other stuff. So they breaking down to my cousin a whole bunch of stuff. He's like, well, because I feel a certain way, I still feel that he's the best. I'm gonna listen to these people, but I'm still not gonna listen to these people because I feel they still the best. I'm just like, what? What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
that's pretty much the millennial
Like,
mindset right there. They feel instead of actually researching and
That's a good.
actually saying.
That's how come I actually that's come I actually talk about it all the time. I actually intentionally talk about think and feel, and the difference in how you when you use the word, subconsciously, you're actually tapping into that part of the psyche. So when you feel, you're tapping into emotion. When you think, even though you don't think, you don't believe, so you're actually tapping into the logical mind just by saying this, by invoking it. But go ahead.
yeah,
You
like,
gotta.
and then that was a perfect example right there. And then when Kevin mentioned it, and I was just like, yeah, man, like you starting to notice it
Mm-hmm.
more and more in your own personal interactions with
Mm-hmm.
people. Like, because before I wasn't really like,
Mm-hmm.
I consider a lot of the people around me a little bit open-minded to,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, in all fairness.
Mm-hmm.
But you seeing it gradually progress into a lot of these younger people, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like it's very
Mm-hmm.
irritating.
A lot of
And
stuff.
this is just like,
A lot of stuff. A lot of way I talk to you guys is intentional, and I know, like I said, I know the first 3-4 months I'm full of shit until you start seeing it in your own life. Even the women, even though my women's hang out, my first 2 or 3 months, I was full of shit. I know what the fuck I was talking about. But now I can hear it amongst my BGS for women are actually talking about the same concepts we talked about a year ago. My only problem is I'm not giving them enough. I feel guilty because I'm not giving them enough material.
yeah.
You know.
So when I started gradually noticing that situation, I
Mm-hmm.
was just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
You
Like I
started to,
never doubted what you were saying.
yeah,
It's just
but
that, you know what I'm
you
saying?
not but
Certain people,
you didn't doubt it, but you didn't believe. Now you believe, don't you?
I believed. Like, I'm not. I was never a skeptic. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm
But
saying,
it's
And how
just,
old are you, man?
huh?
hey, so how old are you?
I'm 37.
Oh, you're
How old
37.
are you?
He said he's 37. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
So you're not really
He's
a
not a
millennial.
millennial.
No.
He's
But
not a
Nah,
millennial.
and you're getting close to that 40. In fact, your prime time for that for the spiritual, you actually get your spiritual change right around 40, where you really
yeah.
get deep
I
into the
started
esoteric.
gradually.
Yeah.
I think things started shifting more after my grandmother died. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things started happening
Mm-hmm.
in regards to, because I'm already Haitian, so a lot of that stuff is
Okay.
rampant
Oh yeah.
in
So
my
so basic a lot of that stuff, a lot of stuff I probably talked about is probably natural to you because Haitians still carry some of that esoteric philosophy in their
yeah,
religion and in their culture, where it's kind of
yeah,
like for Americans, kind of got sanitized and erased.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
but supposedly they say that Kanja and is very heavy and hoodoo is very heavy, like
Mm-hmm.
in New Orleans and all these other places.
Mm-hmm.
So
West African spirituality, voodoo.
yeah,
Yeah.
so so after she passed away, I started getting more into a lot of that situation, and then
Mm-hmm.
stuff started progressing more. So it's like I believe that certain situations you gravitate towards certain situations for a reason. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's like a lot of the material that you had put up is just like, okay, like I get a lot of the stuff he's saying,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand where he's coming from, what perspective he's
Mm-hmm.
coming from,
Yeah.
and
Because they're actually tools. Everything I put up here is actually a tool. It's not just information; it's a tool. If you learn how to use it, even the political stuff, it's a tool.
but
How to
but you
think and how to see the world. Go ahead.
it's funny to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna kind of sound weird, but it's like It's like you brought up something like, okay, in regards to the whole integrationalist situation, it's
Simulation.
kind of like, hmm?
Mm-hmm. Say it
You
again.
hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
You know, it's kind of like I'm gonna kind of parallel. I'm gonna try and bring two things together. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
probably sound weird to a lot of other like listeners,
Mm-hmm.
but I know I'm sure you're familiar with Bobby Hemmett.
Yeah.
So like when you were bringing up the whole, they trying to get everybody to mix up.
Mm-hmm.
So I would watch I was watching a couple of Bobby Hemmett's videos,
Mm-hmm.
and he would bring up the whole fact that they need melanin
Mm-hmm.
in their system to survive the next
Yeah.
period.
It's
And then when
ruling.
you see the whole
Yeah.
Meghan Markle and all this other stuff that they trying to do, I'm just like, whoa, wait a
Oh, yeah,
second.
Meghan Markle's a different thing. Serena's actually talked about melanin and them needing melanin to survive and correct their some of
Genetic
their
flaws.
genetic flaws, that kind of stuff. But Meghan Markle's a whole different story. Meghan Markle's actually there to actually be a symbol so they can bring their Commonwealth countries back together, form a trading bloc again. And they can't do it. The first time they did it by force. They can't do it by force, and they had to persuade. So you can't come out with a pale, red-headed, green-eyed woman to actually come out to a dark continent or even a darker people. You need a darker person that has to be the representative. Meghan
So
Markle is that person.
BGS.
Yeah, go ahead.
So BGS, you're saying Meghan Markle is the British equivalent of Barack Obama?
Yeah, in a sense,
Pretty
yes.
much.
In a sense, yes.
I know.
In
I
fact,
just,
down to having all the 50 the 50 common market
Commonwealths.
commonwealths thrown into her veil. If that doesn't tell you what the agenda is, nothing
It's
will.
a, it's a strategic move,
It's a
and I
strategic
look at
move.
it from.
Mhm.
It's how many times have I told you that black people are so ignorant when it comes to military science,
Mhm.
and it pisses me off because when you can see shit a mile away.
Yeah.
I'm at roll call, like a few minutes after roll call, they were looking at the Syrian when
Mm,
the missiles went into Syria, and they were like, "Why is Trump doing this?"
mm.
I said, "Let me ask you something. If I were to go on your vehicle right now and take your stuff, what would you do?" I'd be like, "What are you doing? What if I keep doing it? I might try to do something to hit you, even though I can't beat you." Exactly.
Mhm.
That's what he's trying to do. He's a dog trying to show teeth to say, "I still can bite, motherfucker."
I can still bite. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. The thing is that okay, in the military you have to be more amoral and you have to be more pragmatic because at the end of the day you're sending people in to die and you're going to take casualties. You're going to take casualties, and you can't be moral about sending soldiers that you may like or may not like into where they're actually going to get killed. Okay, and you can't plan for that because you can't fight a war that way. So you're trained to
Yeah.
be more pragmatic. You have to be pragmatic to be a soldier
You
because
have to take your feelings off the equation
you got to take your
because
feelings out of the equation because your feelings will get you killed.
that's also another reason why they don't want women in combat, besides the physical obvious reasons.
Hmm.
But them goddamn them feminists are at it again, like them Duke boys.
I,
You
I,
know,
I,
they'll
the thing is, what feminists don't want to do is have an all-female regiment. They want to mix in with the guys.
it's like I had a debate with a female. Women could do what men could do. Women could do the same thing men could do. I said, cool, make an all-female special forces unit.
Yeah.
And she was like, why do you want that? I was like, because you know damn well the casualty rate would be so high it'd be shut down the next damn day after their first mission.
You know what I'm saying? If women can do the same thing men could do you have an all men's special forces unit? Yes.
Yeah,
If you can form an all female special forces unit and send them on missions that are appropriate to them. You don't have to send them on the same
exactly.
mission.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I said you gotta be careful because feminists will set a lot of these ladies up for failure. They sound like a bunch of wannabe Hotep army dudes who be like, yeah, we should get guns and fight white supremacy. You'll kill the whole race.
No, they Yeah, until they have to send their son or their father or their brother.
Exactly, and that's the point that I say. If you really want revolution,
You
think about
first.
this.
No, you
There's a
first.
there's a
Yeah, yeah. You first.
exactly.
Yeah.
If anybody tell you revolution and they're not picking up the first gun out the door and they're
Mm-hmm.
not leading from the front, you're a manager. You're not a leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
You don't care about if you don't care about me. I need to. Thing is, if you want me to go out there to die just to prove something to you, then you're not the woman for me. I need to pick more other women.
As you
DJs, can I
said so
interject for a moment?
eloquently,
I'm
Hmm.
sorry. Can I interject
I
for a
was going
moment,
to
real
say
quick?
real quick, as you said so eloquently, good sir, fuck your respect.
Fuck your respect and kick rocks. Yeah. Go ahead, Liquid. You got about 15 more minutes.
Like,
And, yeah.
yeah, I just with the whole situation in regards to when black people or just these women in general talk about how they want black men to go fight
Mm-hmm.
and do all these extra things out here. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I've just been doing a lot of reading lately in regards to, just a lot of people try to put a lot of this stuff off. And I
Mm-hmm.
just feel that, it's still important to understand, a lot of other cultural dynamics. I be reading a lot in regards of Moorish culture and all that other stuff. And just a lot of how can I explain it? Just a lot of in terms in regards to like certain type of doctrines, certain stuff that I came across,
Mm-hmm.
and it has like okay, I'm reading a book in regards to like voodoo and stuff, and there's a book called was it Voodoo in Benin. It's open ended. Well, I'm getting the title wrong, but it's called Voodoo in Benin, open ended and unfinished. So
Okay.
basically, in the book, right, it talks
Mm-hmm.
about how, and when I read a lot about in regards to like West African spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
there was like a fluidity in how we would approach life, like in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how we would take things we didn't reject it, we would make it our own. So when a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people talk about oh, we should just be violent and all this other stuff, it's like basically it almost complements what you said in regards to how eventually black culture submerges everything else. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like um how it's like water. Eventually, we end up engulfing. Well, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. Like basically, you know, they say how the Moors had eventually started influencing European culture. It's like kind of like the same thing with us, but now
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of in reverse because we had the negative aspects of things that happened. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you is it clear to you what I'm
Hmm.
trying to explain? Like,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Just like anything else, basically,
it's
all
like
so
water, basically. It's a
all
fluidity. It's a back and forth. Like,
it's a back and forth, and basically, it's if you look at the Mediterranean, okay, every 400 to 500 years, the flow goes the other way. Now the flow's
mhm.
going the other way.
Yeah. So basically, from reading that, like, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? If I feel that if people had like we're so discombobulated because we don't have a clear cut ideological premise in
Mm-hmm.
regard, or we're not really good in reevaluating certain type of structures. That's why I feel you a godsend because you understand like that's why I always have these observations and have these conversations with people. It's just like, for instance, right, like how you saying how they trying to take the kids, the Mexican kids,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what I'm saying, how they trying to make them like
Yeah.
what like until people understand that whiteness is an ideological structure, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
we could really fight it unless you reevaluate the culture in itself. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Just like with
the culture is also it has building blocks, and once you understand the building blocks of culture, yeah, then you start understanding the needs of it, and then why people do things. Because most people don't just do things just as a group don't do things willy nilly. They do it out of need. It's in a
yeah,
response to something.
yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's like that's why I look at all these feminists and what they're doing. It's like this black feminist and all these other people and what they're doing. It's like
Hmm.
basically you just trying to throw like like how they trying to, oh, we need to just have diversity and all this other stuff. You just really, in essence, you're just really trying to perpetuate the very same bullshit. You just want to be at that table.
No, in other words, it's not they're trying to perpetuate it. That's what they've been taught, and that's all they know.
You gotta realize, what's your name again? I'm gonna have to call
Ocelot.
you Revolver Ocelot.
Ocelot. Yeah.
Ocelot. I like that because I'm a Metal Gear fan myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
yo, oh man, Guns of the Patriots.
Ghost Sons of the
Yo, Metal Gear was
Patriots.
the shit.
You got to be careful of the lolly loo lale.
Y'all got me lost now, man. I don't know what y'all talking about. Go ahead.
In other words,
BGS, man, Metal Gear is
I'll
one
say
of the
this
greatest.
reference real quick, BGS, so you catch on.
Okay.
They had nanobites in the, everybody in the Super Soldiers had nanobites.
Okay.
Except for Snake, the main protagonist.
Okay.
His nanobites were different, so he wasn't affected.
Okay.
The Illuminati or the Sons of the Patriots were. It was a deep game. It made you think. And anytime somebody tried to speak of the Patriots or the Illuminati, they would say the word "lolly loo lale" to throw them off.
Okay. All right.
Remember, they were the philosophers first, and
Yeah.
they stole all the money.
Yeah. And so the point that I was making is that I was telling Ocelot or Ocelot, that like the professor, the esteemed Cerulean Gray, Cone Slayer, shout out.
That video was so hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's the fact of the matter that it's true. Women always look for the path of least resistance, and men, by genetics, always challenge the system. That's why they nerf the boys in school.
Yeah.
That's why they're trying to get girls in more masculine positions to make the boys more subservient.
Yeah.
And when they say we need more diversity, see, a lot of these so-called black feminists, which is an oxymoron in itself, are actually going against their own self-interest. They'll say we need more diversity, but then the next thing they'll say, why can't the black man get a good job? Because you allowed the white woman to take it from you.
Yeah.
And the ones that are available, you took the crumbs, chick.
And then passed it out to the other females, Hispanic and Asian.
Oh, those are our sisters. I said, but guess what? When they get their higher positions and they start hiring, see, this is what happens when you're not on a code. White people are on a code. Jews are on a code, even though they're white, or the so-called Jews. But Asians are on a code because they think Asian first. See, black women think, I'm an American, I'm this, and a lot of the coons. I'm a good American, I'm this, I'm that, and black last. Because they think black is the losing team.
Yeah, they think that because that's when them trained. I always say to women when they bring that up, it's not about that. I said, okay, well, there's our sisters, but are your sisters bringing the check home to you and your man and your kids?
No.
Where's at the end of the day, when you get paid, where does your check go? Well, it comes home to me. Where does her check go? It goes home to her and her husband. So if your man ain't got the job, that position, he doesn't get a check when he comes home, does he? So does it make your family weaker or stronger? Oh, I didn't think about that. Of course you did. Makes it weaker.
And it's funny. It's funny because that one video you said when you were like upset about black women, you said, why the fuck don't y'all be lawyers?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I went outside on my front lawn so I could be on something green and start slow clapping. And, and it was true because y'all get these jobs either in the medical field, social work, or teaching. You want to be somewhere comfortable 9 times out of 10. Yes, you do have outliers. But why don't you ever set up programs for your sons? Like today, I had one of my wrestlers, when they were like playing the PlayStation 4, Coach, Dre's not playing. Dre hogging up the game. I said, well, give me the controllers. Nobody plays. I said, it's the same thing we did in the military. You complain about something, we take it away until you learn how to be cordial with it. He tells me what he wouldn't do. And I told him, I said, you come here. No child that I feed, as you said, no child that bites my hand will ever, no child that I feed will ever bite my hand.
Yep.
And he calls his mother. I said, no, you want to iron your stuff? No, you wait out the front line and I take my key back.
Mm-hmm.
So his mom was like, what's going on? And I kept the same visceral to his mom. I said, I'm going to keep it fucking 100. I said, ma'am, love you to death. You're even younger than me. Hell, you're so young. You weren't even in high school with me. You went to high school after I graduated. I said, no child that I take care of, wrestler or my biological son, will ever bite my damn hand and tell me what to do in my damn house. And you know what she said? She looked at him and she was like, "Oh, you're absolutely right, sir."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
I said,
that
that's
Hey,
that invoking
uh,
that feminine energy because he
that,
felt
that-
he was wrong.
yeah. You know what? I learned that from in fact, my God bless her soul, because she's dead now. She was 40 years older than me, and that's one thing that she said. And I was 23 years old. I never forgot that shit, man. It's been 30 some odd years since I've heard it. I've never forgot it. Never. I've lived by that code ever since. Nothing I feed. She's actually talking about a dog, right? She had a pet dog, and and she loved that dog, right? She fed it, she walked it, all that kind of stuff, right? And one day she was feeding it, and that dog, she said the dog reared up at her. She said she slapped the shit out that dog. I said, why you slap the dog? She said, nothing I feed will bite my hand, including my children. I said, shit. I said, that's the most profound shit I've ever heard in my whole entire life. My
yeah.
whole entire life. So it doesn't matter whether it's a pet, a kid, a girlfriend, whatever. Nothing that I feed is gonna bite my hand. My women too. If I'm taking care of you, I'm taking care of you.
Yes, sir.
You better not raise up your motherfucking hand to me.
Yes, sir. And I believe that. I said,
Facts.
there's some shit that you said to me, and that stuck with me like a fucking ton of bricks. And I've
Mm,
said that even when it's women. I said I protect. I told him right in front of his mother. I said I've joined the military at 17. I went to war like 1921, about 20,
mm,
1920. Like for 2, 3 years, I didn't see my friends and family. I missed 2, 3 birthdays, and I'm like, look, I said and I've still given to my community. I
mm,
said, hell, when I coach, I'm a volunteer. I don't get paid,
mm,
and I'm like, dude, you got to man the hell up. You whine because you used to mommy bowing down to you. I said,
mm,
did I not tell you when you stepped in my house, you're gonna be held accountable to a man. Every time you fuck up, you're gonna be held accountable to that fuck up.
mm,
Just like I have to. I can't tell my supervisor, no, I'm not gonna go out there and on the streets, or I'm not
mm,
gonna be on the desk writing reports or answering phones.
mm.
No, that's not an option for failure.
He,
And
he
that's the
want
point
he
that
wants that corner cleared. Period.
exactly. He wants
Mm,
that fucking corner kid. You gotta. Well, you can't go up there and tell him. Well, motherfucker, circumvent. Learn how to bend the law, not break it.
mm.
And that's the
Yes, that
point
whole
that.
situation.
See what I select?
No, no, I was go ahead, Charles. Let me let you finish. Sorry about that.
But no, it was the fact of the matter that what I was saying is that if you want to fix a culture, it's not just getting the women in check. It's making the men realize their duty. It's the fact that, like I told she who not be named, I said, I'm not a misogynistic man. I
Mm,
said, first of all, I love nothing but my black women, but I'm gonna hold you accountable like I do my brothers.
mm,
And see, y'all not gonna call out somebody's fuckery
mm,
and have a disdain for that fuckery like men do. Like
mm,
BGS, and I'm pretty sure you, Ocelot, would be like, hey, tell your boys, yo, you know that ain't right.
mm.
You ain't see
Pretty
your
much.
kids in a minute. Why ain't see your
Are
kids, nigga?
you?
Yeah.
That's what men do. But women could go around like you had in the video. We're not gonna hug a chick who has multiple kids. No, you fucking up the community and yourself. Why
Mm,
are you constantly bringing those kids into poverty? If that was a dude, he would not be hugged. He would get the shame eye like a motherfucker.
mm,
You would be able to see the
Yeah, but
visceral that people would have.
mm. And that if she fucked up once, if she got pregnant again, all the women in the neighborhood should have foot up her ass. Don't do this shit again.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a proper matriarchy, just like a patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
The man says something, it goes. Just like if you want a proper matriarchy, guess what? Hold those little ladies accountable with their
Mm-hmm.
sexuality. That's
Mm-hmm.
not ladylike. Get a fucking skirt that's presentable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's why we call Kendrick, Ruby, Cats, Ming, and other ladies in Char
Mm-hmm.
unicorns because
Unicorn.
we're not used to classic. We're not used to classy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's a definite. Now, I was gonna add some emphasis on that situation too. I'm, I'm, I'm gonna
Real
use my
quick.
cousin as.
Yeah, real
I'm
quick, because
sorry.
we got about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I got you. I'm just gonna use my other cousin as an example again. In regards to the whole dating aspect with women, like I'm really starting to see that brothers out here do have low standards, and I think you know what it is. It's because they came up under a dysfunctional environment. They really don't know what a positive male. The women too, both of them,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know what a positive male and female interaction is because we
Mm-hmm.
so used to dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like because the other day I'm gonna use my cousin as an example again because his mom was kind of aggressive. He had his pops, but she was kind of aggressive,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
he said that he was into this certain girl, some Instagram chick, or somebody who's crazy, and I was just like, yo, you really into? And I had that epiphany. I was like, oh, due to the fact that your mama was aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
overly aggressive. This is why you like these overly aggressive hood chicks.
Yeah.
And I said that in the chat that we was having, and he
Mm-hmm.
was just like, he was laughing too. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
dysfunctionality, y'all used to
It,
seeing
it,
that shit.
yeah. It's
So y'all
normal to you.
bring that, yep,
Yeah. It's normal
yeah,
to you. Yeah.
yeah.
That's why come I. That's how come I say that a lot of stuff I say over and over and over again. So even if you disagree with it, first you're gonna say, "I don't believe this shit. Let me see if this actually happens." And when you first see, it's like, "Oh snap!" That's what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm,
So whether you agree with me or not, you've seen it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
mm-hmm,
But
Yeah, and
that's
it's
why I do what I do. People say, why do you do this? Why is it about information? It's not about information, it's about awareness. Because once you see it, then you can make a change. Like Officer Charles said, I say something that he never thought about or he never or was aware of. And once he sees it, and he sees it in his own life, he said, okay, now I see it, even though it's been happening in front of me all this time. I see it. Now I can incorporate it.
yeah, and when you, I tell everybody, if you really want to see the black community, don't just walk outside. Do it on a ride along with a cop.
Hmm. Oh yeah, you see if you want to see the worst, us at our community at its weakest, ride with a cop, because you guys
Ride with a cop.
because you guys get all the I hate to say it, you guys get all the garbage of society.
Oh yeah, ride with a cop, and you'll
Hmm.
see the black community in its purest form.
Hmm.
The people will tell you all this educated shit.
Hmm.
We got this, we got that. Okay,
Hmm.
motherfucker. How can you claim you got all this shit and you're the most educated females, but your children are dumber than bricks? Your children can't
Oh, I
read, they
can't
can't do
stand that.
arithmetic.
I can't
And
stand that.
I'm just like, and people get mad at me for mentioning this shit. And I'm
Hmm.
like, your children can't read. Your
Hmm.
children,
Yeah,
your
you got
children are dysfunctional.
you got a master's, but your son can't read. It's like,
yeah.
I have to do everything I can if a woman tells me that got a bachelor's or a master's and got a degree, and the son has a lower reading level, because I want to take that chick out and slap the shit out of her because it makes me so mad.
Yeah, and that's the part that kills me. And I'm not, and it's like you don't see the insanity in all this shit.
Hmm.
Like, how can you? Because that's selfish. I'm broke because I paid for tutors and camps for my son.
Hmm.
I even told him, and I sat his little ass down. He'll be 11 on the 28th.
Hmm.
Look, Daddy pays a good amount of money. You ain't shaming Daddy, and you damn sure not gonna shame yourself.
Hmm.
Not gonna allow you. See, it's the fact that you allow this mediocrity to let your children wallow in
And
obsolescence.
obsolescence. That's it. I said, from the time that kid is born, the time the kid can actually find itself a bit. If you just set that kid in front of you for 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, had him read do his arithmetic, he'd be far ahead of the game. Just about
Yeah,
consistency.
and
And when women say, "Well, I can't do it," you can find 20. Anybody can find 20 extra minutes a day. Anybody. Nobody's
that's
working and doing whatever they do. Put the goddamn phone down. Take the dick out of your mouth. Okay. 20 minutes.
Exactly. I
Sit
call it
down
bullshit.
with your child with a book and teach that child to read and make sure that that child does what it's supposed to do. It doesn't take that long. Yeah. In other words, mama take hours and doll herself up, but they can't take 20 minutes with their kid.
Think
It
about
just,
it.
yeah, just makes me mad.
It's the same. It's the same shit I tell people about exercise, and people get mad with me. I said, would you, if you could live an extra 20, 30 years, would you work out just for 20 minutes every other day?
Hmm.
I think with a lot of these people is just some passive nihilism. Like it's just like passive, like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't give a damn.
Yeah.
I
Basically,
don't like.
I don't
Yeah,
care.
it's
I
like
mean, yeah. It's too
just passive
hard.
nihilism.
It's
It's like
too
I don't believe in
hard.
nothing.
It's too hard. It's I can't take my time out of my day and all this other. You waste time doing other things. Anyway, y'all, closing thoughts. Appreciate you guys. I didn't get my
Oh,
detractors in, but I always enjoy talking to you guys. I haven't done this in a long. I don't get you normally get the chance to do this. Um,
when do
where
you
I
get your
actually,
detractor, sir?
well, I'm
It's
saying
always
where I,
on Saturdays.
you know, when I say with a small group like this, because on Saturdays I'm
Oh
doing more
yeah,
managing than talking.
yeah.
I'm
It's
trying
always
to,
a pleasure. Good sir.
yeah, I'm trying to allow you guys to talk on Saturdays. So you guys trying to get everybody involved, so I don't get a chance to talk a lot on Saturdays. Whereas Saturdays are more managing.
I've been missing
It's a pleasure.
hangouts like crazy, so I just decided to let them just step up because I've been going out and just working and stuff. So a couple of stuff I've been missing, but
Yeah.
always appreciated you and
Oh yeah.
Cerulean and Charles and everybody, and
Mhm. Yeah.
all the people in the manosphere.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Q, everybody. Appreciate y'all. This guy stepped my shit up. That's about it.
Oh, you just apply that stuff. I mean, you already started. I can hear it that you already started applying it, and that's what you know. That's what it's about. Take what you hear, see if it works, and apply what works, and make your
Yeah,
life better. That's
And
all it's about, making life better. That's all it is. That's all it's about.
yeah,
That's all
man.
it's
I
about.
always had black mentors, so it's not an issue for me. So I'm just trying to carry on tradition. So just let it. I just want to be known as just appreciated. So
Oh yeah, yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
appreciate
All
And
y'all.
right.
by the way, BBS,
Yes, sir.
I like to say this with my closing thoughts. I will issue out another challenge since I beat up on Art.
Uh huh.
You know, and by the way, Art, I'm actually winning in Madden. You don't want this smoke in Madden. But he beat me in Street Fighter, but I conquered him in Dragon Ball Fighters and Tekken.
Okay.
And then
Nah,
he
man.
says he wants another
Charles, let me get your
attitude
password so I
adjustment.
can so challenge you with some Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah,
the,
just
the
look
new
for
Dragon Ball
Fulcrum Run
Z.
on PlayStation 4, capital
Yep.
F number one. And yes, I will tack his ass one more time next week. I'm issuing the gauntlet has been
Nah,
thrown.
we got you, man.
Fuck
We
a
got you.
definitive gauntlet. It's been thrown down.
People didn't think I would actually host you guys' like tournament on Hangout. They were
Yeah,
actually shot. You actually hosted this shit. I said it's their Hangout. They can do anything they want.
I said that was actually entertaining, and people were actually entertained and remembering the times they went to arcades and stuff. I was like,
Yeah,
oh shit.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
that
the
was
thing
a
is,
pretty.
that's what makes the Hangouts interesting because it's your Hangout. I'm not trying to script anything. I'm not trying to guide anything. I said whatever comes up, we deal with it. You know, and sometimes we have to wrestle and cuss each other out, but it is what it is.
It's all in love.
It's all in love. So anyway, folks, I'm gonna go to sleep, and I'll check you guys out. The ladies on Friday and you guys on Saturday. So with that, I'm a bounce, and then you guys have a go. You guys go get some sleep because I know y'all been up.
All right.
All
Take
right,
care.
all right. Peace.
Peace.